we need to talk about Buffies. Everything about Buffies, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever you want to say. This video is like kind of a Reddit video, but it's more so just going to be like my own thoughts. Like the Reddit here is kind of just like for reference or just for some like background footage of, you know, other people's opinions. But today I'm just going to go through everything and give my like full honest opinion on what I think about Buffies as they currently are, how I think they're going to affect the game, and what should probably be changed preemptively. Because the thing is, guys, when people give criticism like this, people tend to think that they hate the game and they just hate the devs. But obviously I don't want this game to like go downhill. A lot of people are like dooming the game, you know, saying it's gonna like super die because of Buffies, which like it could definitely go down because of Buffies. We saw with Clash Royale, they added heroes, bro. The game like it peaked, and then heroes, it's going straight down. If that happens to Brawl Stars again, I think it's actually Jover, because we're still at that like low point that it fell to from the peak, and we needed to climb back up, basically, like if we want like Brawl Star content to thrive. So yeah, Buffies are going to be that thing because hypercharges were the last thing, and they didn't really turn out that well. Like people just didn't love them as much as obviously they loved like star powers and gadgets, even partially gears, I guess, even though the initial gears update was terrible. Now gears are gone because of Buffies, and that is like one thing we have to talk about. But first of all, let's just start out. Okay, let's calm down, simmer it down there. Let's start out with the price. Now, the thing about the price, we all know this. I'm just going to regurgitate a couple things. It is 2k power points, 1k coins. This is like... Why is it coins? Why are coins there? I don't get it. The whole point of this was supposed to be like, hey, we're adding a new ability that is power points based. Like, you buy it with power points. You buy everything else in the game with coins. And now we got a double whammy. Like, it's too expensive, obviously. Now... they may just have to super buff the progression. Like maybe this is like we're wrong for thinking that this is too expensive, but at face value of what we're seeing, even if they buff the progression by like a decent chunk, like it's still too expensive. No free-to-play player, I don't think will ever be able to max out their accounts with all their Buffies and like all their gears, like all of this stuff, like especially considering the fact that you also need coins for it. Like it's just so expensive. And we also have to remember that well, okay, first of all, you can get them from the crane, free to play. You don't have, wait, that should be a thing. I think it's going to be a thing where you can get the crane without spending these resources on it. I assume it will. Like, it'll be like in the free track. It'll be like as like rewards for challenges and stuff. I assume that is going to be the case. Big assumption, but I think it is. That said, though, 3 Buffies for 100 brawlers in the game, that is 300 Buffies. That is hundreds of thousands of not only power points, but also coins. I think you see where I'm going with this. It's just so expensive on top of everything else that you have to do on your account. It's even expensive for pay-to-win players, I'm going to be honest. And I think there's going to be a way to directly buy the Buffy that you want for a brawler. Since the crane costs what it costs, I assume that buying a Buffy straight up for a brawler is going to cost gems, which most players just simply cannot afford. Even if they're light spenders, they just can't really spare their gems for one simple little Buffy. That's to be determined, though. We don't know for sure. Maybe we do on update sneak peeks, but again, I'm still super out of the loop on that kind of stuff. But like overall, just point number 1 about Buffies, they're too expensive, obviously. Like they should probably just drop it down a little bit or buff the progression. They may be like doing that, but I just don't want another thing where it's like we can't even progress, because that has happened before, and it's not a good feeling in any game when you just can't get the new content. It's a very bad feeling. Alright guys, shout out to Crying Man. I have his video playing in the background because I don't have the dev build. I can't really make my own footage here. I'll try to get the dev build in the next update, but I did not have it for this one, so I can't really get my own footage. I just can't do that. So Crying Man's video will be in the description. If you want to see what all the Buffies do with like his voiceover and everything, then go check that out. But now I'm going to talk about the actual Buffies like abilities and how it'll affect the meta, like specifically the hypercharge one. But first, a lot of people seem like disappointed with the reworks that brawlers are receiving, and that is like my favorite part. That is like, I think the good part of the update is that like there is like a counter argument that like maybe the older brawlers should stay like older, you know, they should stay with that older feeling rather than like just being rejuvenized with like all of these like special mechanics that just make them broken or flashy or whatever. At this point of the game, I just feel like it's becoming like so dry for these old brawlers and these old experiences that like buffing those experiences in any way possible at this point is a good thing for the game. And that is also a thing with Buffies. Like, I think that Buffies will overall make the game feel more fresh. Like, it's definitely a freshening thing. It gives brawlers a lot more options. But I think the main problem is that we're also losing out on mythic gears, which were like an option that you could choose for your brawler, but Buffies are not an option. You have all three and you use all three on the brawler. You do not choose between them. So they're really expensive. You need all three to make your brawler like viable, and they're broken together. Like, they all do crazy things, and I feel like that is like the craziest part about it, is like that you have all three at once. That's what's gonna make brawlers super broken. And like the problem with that is if they were to change it now, it wouldn't really work, because they kind of designed Buffies to all be played together, because some are better than others, and the point of that is the fact that like you will have all three. So like, it doesn't matter if you get one of the Buffies and not the other one, because you won't really lose out on anything, because you can still get the other one and use it on top of it. Like, I don't know if this is making sense, but like, if you were to make it so then you're only able to select one Buffy, then basically one of the three would be super broken and you would always choose that one. So it would be like a balancing nightmare again. But I feel like it might be a necessary balancing nightmare, because either, in my opinion, as we've seen, like, these Buffies, if you've seen the gameplay, again, watch Crying Man's video if you haven't, they make brawlers overpowered. Just like, simple as that. They make brawlers so overpowered. And every brawler with every update that has Buffies are just going to be the next best brawlers. I've made this point many times, so I'm just going to shut up about it. But yeah, it's a balancing nightmare. Like, the balance of the game is never going to recover from this if it stays as is. I feel like that is like safe to say. It will be fun. I gotta say that. Like, I don't want to only say negatives. Like, it will be fun, especially for like wacky content like I like to do, just like weird challenge content, whatever. And it will especially be good for casual players, which is their primary audience. I think that's a big reason why they're doing this. It does kind of remind me of the event that we just played, how like every brawler gets wacky abilities, like the Stranger Things event, I mean, like where you can pick their cards. It looks like it'll feel good to play the brawlers that have the Buffies if you have all the Buffies. That is like kind of the positive about it, is like, it seems like the gameplay itself when you're playing the brawler will be overall like just more fun. I think maybe it's because they're broken or whatever, but that's like kind of a positive that I want to mention. And I know this is something that is said all the time about abilities, but I think it's said for a reason, because like most abilities end up getting changed anyway. But my main like takeaway on Buffies is that like, it is a good concept, but it is executed poorly. I think we've said this many times, and it's come to life many times, that these abilities end up getting changed at some point because of this exact reason, because it was a good concept and then they were implemented poorly. Like, we have gears, we had certain gadgets, we had hypercharges, they got changed completely. Gadgets got changed completely. Like, a lot of things got changed because like it was a good idea, but it just wasn't really done well. And this is going to be the same thing, because again, balancing nightmare. Now, going off the problem and the solution that we had, the problem is that Buffies, having all three especially, is like super duper broken on every brawler, but then you can't really go back and only play one or two, because the way they designed them so far, which it's early on, so there is time to change that, but the way they made them so far is they're all good in their own different ways, and one of them will especially be good or better than the others. I feel like the hyper on most of these will be the most broken one, but you never really know. Some of these little abilities could be a bit better, like Mortis's infinite healing one. That one's absolutely insane. This like damage one for Mortis is not good. The one that you're seeing right there, that one is not that good compared to the others, so nobody would ever use that unless they buff the heck out of it. And that's kind of like what I'm talking about here. Like, if they do make it so then you only get to select one on a brawler, which should be the case. I feel like it makes more sense that you have you can customize your choice, because currently they removed that ability with like the mythic gear to customize whether or not you even use it. You know, there's like no builds to be had here. You just Buffy, and that's it. You know, you just get the Buffy and you go on with your day. Now, my hope is simply that they will Make it so then you can only use a certain amount, like before this update even drops or something, because if they do it too late, people are going to buy the Buffies and then they're going to get pissed off that they got the Buffies and then suddenly they can't use all 3. So this is kind of like a somewhat urgent thing that they have to like pay attention to the balance here and fix it as soon as possible before they get rolled out too far. Because with hypers, as we saw, the game just kept declining and declining because hypers were just so broken. The meta was terrible. Competitive was just like not having it. Like it just wasn't a good time for those people. And it was really only a good time for like the super casuals who don't really care like what's going on. They just play the game. They don't consume content, nothing like that. They just kind of like hop on, play their daily and get off. Like those are the kind of players that this is appeasing to, which is like not... I don't know. It's not us. It's just not us. It's not us. That's the thing. It's not us at all, which... oh well, you know, womp womp, whatever. But you know, it kind of sucks sometimes that it's not us ever. They do listen to us and they implement changes later, but I feel like they're not initially thinking about us, which whatever, that's not even the point I'm trying to make. But it is just like a little side thing that like happens. I feel like in most Supercell games, they don't really think about their core players first. They think about like the hyper casuals first, and then the like dedicated players and pros later. That's like around the time that the competitive like is actually like becoming a thing, like world finals, then they care. And then after that, as we just saw, like they fixed hypercharges right around world finals. Right after world finals, we get Buffies, and it's even arguably more broken than hypercharges ever were. So it's kind of just like a cycle, and I wish that wouldn't be the case, but I think it does also happen with other games. So yeah, I don't think it's exclusive to Supercell. I think it's just like a thing where pros have their time and then hyper casuals have their time to like mess around. The ideal world of like Brawl Stars and just games in general, like this live service games, is like every type of player always has an option, and the like hyper casual features don't always clash with the pro features. Like Fortnite, I think, did that pretty well. Sometimes they mess it up though with like new seasons or whatever, where things just like break or things are too broken. But they have a thing where in ranked, the game simply works differently. Like the mechanics are different. Everything about the game like is just made to be balanced. Now Brawl Stars Ranked doesn't have that. I feel like if Brawl Stars Ranked had that, they wouldn't even have hypercharges in the game when they were super broken, or they would have like a dumbed down version of hypercharges, because that's kind of what Fortnite does. They change the loot pool, they change what's on the map, they change certain things about like eliminating opponents, because they want their competitive scene to actually live. And I think it still has a competitive scene, which it's not as much as it used to be, but I think they still have one in the first place because of that. And I'm not saying that Brawl Stars will lose their competitive scene, but I have seen competitive players dropping out a lot more commonly than they used to, like before all of this stuff started happening. Alright, this is going to be my last like preemptive video about Buffies. I just want to preface that I'm not going to make like 17,000 more videos just talking about the same features until like they come out and we see what they've done, what they've changed, or if they've changed nothing, then I'll make update videos on what maybe should happen going forward. But yeah, that is essentially all I have to say about Buffies so far. Let me know what you think. Do you think I'm like being too negative, or do you think they're not going to be as strong as I think? I think the common consensus online is that they're just like broken and stuff. We've always got posts like this, just changing how the progression works. You get to pick between power points or coins. Even 2,000, like we're even asking for 2,000, either or. Like at this point, anything would just be a little bit better, I think. So again, I don't hate the devs. I don't hate the update. I don't hate anything. I just want the best for this game's future. And on paper, what we're seeing here, it seems like some mistakes were made, and we're trying to rectify them as the creators. That's kind of like what we're trying to do, like get our voice out there, you know, maybe like let people form their own opinions. Don't just take my opinion and run with it. Don't take anybody's opinion and run with it. Form your own, and if you think so strongly of it, then also voice it online, because normally what happens, like I said, is they kind of like just focus on whatever first and then us later. So if we talk enough about it, then they might make a good change here for the rest of us to enjoy the game. All right, I'm gonna stop yapping. I could just like keep going back and forth over and over again. So if you guys enjoyed this video, or if you agree with me, whatever, drop a like, leave a comment, and use code NUBS in the shop if you're not using a creator's code, or use somebody else's code. It doesn't matter. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night, guys.